Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on your time zone. I'm Prabhat Gupta, and you are watching InvestoLab. True to our name, we research the financial data with precision. Our goal is to help you to build your wealth with confidence. Before we dive into today's eye opening topic, I would request each one of you to subscribe to this channel and click on the bell icon so that you will be notified when there is a latest video uploaded in this channel on smart investing and personal finance. Without further ado, let's kick started. Lately, a lot of my friends asked me, Prabhat, market is not doing great, so shall I stop my SIP? Then I told them, no, you shouldn't be stopping your SIP. Let's look at the historical facts. Since 1986, six times market has gone down either 40% or beyond that. However, history also reveals that every time, every instances, market has recovered either within 6 months or from 6 months to 36 months. Within those time periods, market has fully recovered. Especially when market is down, you should be stepping up, not stopping your SIP. If your cash flows allows, you should be investing more during the downturn and do not panic. Also keep in mind, you should not be investing the borrowed money. Only invest your own fund which is not needed in near future. If you are investing in the equity market, you should keep a time horizon of at least for 7 years so that fund can grow properly. Now, why 7-year time horizon? Let's try and understand in detail. Market returns are never a straight line. They are non-linear. It means market doesn't go in one direction. It goes up, down, goes up, down. Somewhere it will be up, somewhere down, somewhere up, somewhere down. Why I usually tells my friends to invest for at least 7 years if you are investing in equity. There are a couple of factors. One is, market may underperform for next few years, or market may be flat for next few years, but suddenly in one of the year market may go up, or some of the years market may go down. For instance, say 2020 somebody has invested, and say until 2024 there is no much return or it is flat, and you get 2024 you get around 16% return, and say assume you get 15% return in 2025, and you get some negative returns, say 10% is negative return in 2026, and suddenly in 2027 you get a 40% positive return. So ultimately it is averaged out. At the end of the 7 year you get competitive returns, and I can say that you may not get this kind of return if you stop investing, especially during the downturn. No one, even the best expert in the world, can tell you that when market will do well and when market will not do well. So the best way to be invested, if you continue your SIP during the downturn, then the average price of the per unit which you acquire will be far lower than the person who especially invests in the market highs, which significantly increases after 7 years your chance of sitting in a massive profit. So that is why I am suggesting 7 years. Portfolio review and behavioral discipline, which is very much important. Even with the long-term investment, you cannot just invest and wait for 10 years. You have to review your portfolio, especially every 1 year. During, say for example, you set aside some time, something like your birthday, or some special day for you. If your fund is not giving you the return as per the benchmark or better than the benchmark, then you should not be holding that, and you should be rethinking whether to switch it to some of the other fund which is performing well. Also, a piece of behavioral advice: you shouldn't be tracking your mutual fund on a daily basis. Otherwise, during the downturn, it may happen that you may sell out some of the good fund which may give you great return in future just because they are not doing well during the market downturn. Hence, avoid looking at your portfolio on a daily basis. Now we are going to discuss today's most awaited topic, the FD killer. Have you ever heard banking and PSU debt fund? Until now, we have discussed about the equity, but now let's talk about the safe side of your portfolio, which is debt. Today, I want to share something which may change your view of safety. What if I told you that you can earn better return than FD with the lesser risk by investing in banking and PSU debt fund? How? Let's deep dive. Most people think that they invested in FD and they are safe, but it is not. Say for example, one person has invested 10 lakh rupees in one of the bank and that bank goes bankrupt, then RBI will cover them for 5 lakhs. And remaining 5 lakhs they will be, losing. Now, if person B invest same rupees 10 lakh in banking and PSU debt fund, then easily that person can earn at least 7.5 to 8.5% return. And in FD, how much you will get? Around 6% return at the moment, right? Which is roughly 1 to 2% higher than the FD return, right? Now, let's discuss why it is safer than the FD. I mean, why banking in PSU fund is safer than the FD. It's all about diversification. Banking and PSU debt fund, where fund manager invest in 50 different banks and PSUs, where in FD your exposure will be limited to only one particular bank. Say 10 lakh invested in banking and PSU fund would have been invested in 50 different banks and PSUs. Say for example, one of the entity becomes bankrupt, then also 98% of your funds are still safe. So that is how you compare the risk wise, right? In FD, greater than 5 lakhs amount you are going to lose if bank becomes bankrupt. However, in banking and PSU debt fund, you will be losing only 2% of your total wealth. Still 98% will be safe. All right, here I'm going to explain you will say, wow, 42 lakhs opportunity cost. Let's do the maths. 10 lakhs your emergency fund kept in FD for 30 years at 6% rate of interest, then it would become 58 lakhs, okay, after 30 years. And if you invest the same amount, 10 lakhs, in PSU banking and debt fund, then that would become roughly around 1 CR. Okay. Now this difference of 42 lakhs, it is just a matter of 1 to 2%, and you are, losing around 42 lakhs. So if you have kept your emergency fund in fixed deposit, today is the time to withdraw from that and invest in banking and PSU debt fund. In addition to that, FD doesn't even beat inflation. At the end of 30 years, you will be not having the purchasing power which you have today. In terms of the liquidity, if you try to withdraw before the maturity date, in FD you will have to pay some penalty. However, there is no exit load in most of the banking and PSU debt fund, and it will allow you to withdraw whenever you want. Say today you invested, next after 1 week you want to withdraw, you can do so. I personally park my emergency fund in banking and PSU debt fund. When selecting the banking and PSU funds, or be it any other funds, you should keep in mind about the exit load. Look at the exit load first, whether it is zero or not. If it is not zero, do not invest in that particular banking and PSU debt fund. Always select direct plan instead of regular plan in order to avoid the higher expense ratio. And a small expense ratio is saved will be added to your corpus. Here are few banking and PSU debt fund which I like is Kotak Banking and PSU Debt Fund, HDFC Banking and PSU Debt Fund, SBI Banking and PSU Debt Fund, and ICICI Prudential Banking and PSU Debt Fund. If you found this research helpful, please like, subscribe, and share as much as you can with your family and friends so that they will be benefited out of this. And if you feel that I need to improve on few areas, please do comment so that I will work to improve on those. Disclaimer, please consult your financial advisor before making any financial decisions. Until next time, keep researching and keep investing. Jai Hind.